local history, local culture, local events, your community. This is the Joe Kelly Show.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. This is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We're at CABVI, the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. We're going to be talking to Dan Phillips, who works at CABVI, and tell you all about what's going on this month. And we're joined by the aforementioned Dan Phillips, and we're going to be talking about this special month. We'll be talking to Dan about a variety of subjects. He's been down here for how many years, Dan? Almost 8?
Almost 8 years.
Yeah. Dan, you wear more than one hat down here. What are your, I think you've got 3 titles?
I do.
Yes, what are they?
So I was hired as a social worker back in 2015, and later was promoted to technology manager in our assistive technology department, and then director of our public policy team.
Yeah, and do you still do some of all of that, Dan?
I do.
Yeah, and I'm looking right behind you, and I see that computer screen, and it's got the oversized type. That's part of the technology that exists today that didn't exist way back when.
It is. Assistive technology's come a long way over the years. It's very exciting, and it brings great opportunities to people like myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dan, this is a special month for people in your line of work, for clients, because it brings awareness. I'll let you give the title of this month.
Sure. October is NDEAM, which is an acronym for National Disability Employment Awareness Month. It was declared by Congress in 1988. It's a national observance, occurs every month, or every October, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. It's led by the Department of Labor, and it aims to recognize the employment of people with disabilities and the value they bring to the workplace.
It works both ways, doesn't it, Dan? I mean, you want employers or potential employers to know what's available by hiring somebody who has a disability, and you want the people who have a disability, in this case, a visual disability, to know that there are opportunities.
Absolutely. NDEAM provides a great opportunity for us to educate the public as well as employers about the opportunities and people with vision loss as to the employment opportunities available out there.
I think you're a good case in point. You have a vision loss. Are you legally blind?
I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when we say, I get confused on this, Dan, when we talk about somebody, sometimes you refer to people as visually impaired, sometimes blind, sometimes legally blind. What are we talking? Are we talking about a wide variety here, aren't we?
We are absolutely. Every case is different. We've all, whether we're legally blind, totally blind, visually impaired, it's such a wide range. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes there's a misconception out there among people that aren't aware that blindness can take so many forms, so many degrees.
Give me an example. Give me an example. What to what?
Well, like blind doesn't mean that you have no sight at all unless you're totally blind. I can be blind, but I still have usable vision, whereby I can use some of the technology behind me with screen magnification, things like that. So I think it's important for people to understand that it's such a wide range.
Yeah.
I might travel with a white cane, but that doesn't mean that I don't have any usable vision.
In fact, I see in your briefcase, you've got a collapsible cane in your briefcase, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Do you use that as a matter of routine or as a backup or what?
It depends on the situation. It provides a lot of safety, confidence, and security in travel. Within this building, not too much. I know it very well. I feel safe, but get me out into the street when I need to cross a street or if I'm in an unfamiliar place, I don't leave without it. And it's also something that lets others know that, yes, I have a vision impairment. If I'm crossing a street, maybe they should be sure to watch for me.
Yeah. When you come across someone, as I often do on Genesee Street, you'll see people with canes, and they're going up or down the street. Is there a good way to approach someone, or should you not approach someone who has got some vision problems and offer some assistance?
I think offering assistance is fine. But at the same time, if somebody wants to travel independently and they say, thank you, I've got this, then let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are they've received training through CABVI. They've been taught safe travel skills through our rehab department.
In fact, you'll see some of your staff here out training people on the street, some on-the-job training, yes?
All the time,
Yeah.
all the time. We have a very highly qualified rehabilitation department that provides a vast array of rehab services to people with vision loss.
I always remember the time, Dan, when I was driving up Genesee Street and I saw someone with a white cane, and I drove back down Genesee Street a little while later and they were still there. So I pulled over and asked them if they wanted some help crossing the street. And they said, well, that's nice you to ask, but I'm waiting for the bus.
Yeah, so absolutely. People
Yeah.
are receptive to help, but we like our independence as well.
Yeah.
So.
How much vision do you have, Dan?
Boy, let's see. Legal blindness is 20/200 or field of less than 20 degrees. My acuity is probably 20/700 or 800, with a field definitely less than 20 degrees, especially given the eye disease that I have.
Mm-hmm. And what does that do in terms of, do you see shades? Do you see black and white? Do you see...
I've lost color over the years. I do see shapes. I see the shapes of you all here, and but with RP, or retinitis pigmentosa, which I have, one of the first things that you lose is your peripheral vision, and so I have a very narrow field of view.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the services that are offered here at CABVI. And somebody with the Cancer Society told me this once, and I've always remembered it, Dan. They said, when somebody has cancer, we want them to call us. Would that be the same here? When somebody has some vision problems, the first call they should be here, one of the first calls they should be making is down here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Good. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Dan Phillips is our guest. We're at CABVI down on Elizabeth Street. Short break, right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Dan Phillips is our guest. We're at CABVI. It's National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and that brings us down here to talk to Dan and to learn more about CABVI and all that's offered down here. Employment, Dan, is a big part of why this institution is here. Employing people, getting people trained. You've got people down here who are visually impaired, blind, other people who aren't, yes?
Yes, yes. We are getting to be a very large employer, and we are committed to creating employment opportunities for people with vision loss. The unemployment rate among working-aged Americans who are blind is nearly 70%, and that's an unacceptable figure.
It would seem to me that from an employer point of view, I'll bet you a lot of them just don't know how to approach this. If you've got a website, well, there's an issue right there. If you've got a website and you want somebody to look at your website for potential jobs, not everybody can look at those websites.
That is correct. Inaccessibility to a website of an employer or their application can be a significant barrier to somebody with vision loss when it comes to applying for a job. It's important that we can navigate that website, do our research on a job, and have the same access as everybody else.
Is part of what you're doing down here trying to, especially this month, educate potential employers about how to go about attracting people with visual problems, how to go about you have to handle it in a different way. It's a different model for people.
It is. With this month, NDEAM, the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, the theme is disability, part of the equity equation. And that really aims to emphasize the importance of people with disabilities and what they bring to building a diverse, inclusive workplace. It's important for employers to really tap into this untapped demographic of blind and disabled employees.
The CABVI, can they help screen people for an employer so that CABVI could say, I'm asking, well, this particular individual wouldn't be good for that type of work that you're seeking, but this kind of potential employee would work in your environment?
Absolutely. We can help employers in many ways, kind of going back to the employment application process, their website. We can test accessibility for them. We have our own employment services here in our rehab department. There's many things that we can do to help employers and employees with employment.
And what about your clients here? Is there a reluctance? I guess it would depend on how you happen to progress with your visual impairment, but if it was something that you were born with, that's one thing. If it's something that has come on over the years, that's something else. So you've got a wide variety of clients that you have to appeal to.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're correct. We treat every case uniquely because we do understand that every situation is different. It might be a little easier for somebody that's had blindness for many years like myself, especially for somebody that's new to vision loss. They're unsure of what they're able to do. But with CABVI's rehabilitation department and the many services that we provide, allowing them to learn and understand just how capable they can be despite that loss of vision. Going back to the assistive technology, many people aren't aware of some of the magnification and the speech that can really help them do just about any job, really.
And just down the hall, I see a classroom. What goes on in there, Dan?
So in our Vision Health and Wellness Center here, we have our assistive technology department, which is over 600 square feet, so it's quite large. It allows us to assess our clients of what their skills are, how we can help them, what assistive technology devices will help them achieve their goals. But we also provide training on an individual and a group basis.
And the training involves what?
So the training, we can teach people how to use the assistive tech devices, whether it be magnification, speech, software programs, such as Zoom Text, JAWS, Fusion, some of the more commonly used programs that really help people with vision loss access print, whether it be on the computer or physical documents.
Could somebody with some technological assistance read a newspaper?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing these days.
Yeah,
but the other technology that is going on that didn't exist, for example, when you were a young man, which wasn't that long ago, but technology is just jumping.
It is, and what's really nice for me to see is when I look back over the years, back when I was in high school or, in college, there was far fewer options in terms of assistive tech equipment. And I just love to see new devices come out and how it's evolved. Obviously, we didn't always have these nice flat panel, high definition displays and 4K cameras and all this good stuff. Text to speech machines, and it's really exciting.
The services down here, expensive for somebody who's a client?
No, it's not. We take care of really anybody that needs the service. We don't bill people for what they receive here with us. We are a service contract provider with New York State Commission for the Blind, so we do often receive referrals from them for many services, including assistive technology and really many of the other vision rehabilitation services that we offer.
Is there some equipment that's just on the horizon here, Dan?
We're kind of hoping there's going to be some new innovation coming out after the first of the year. Don't really know as of yet, but typically new devices come out after the first of the year. I think some of the innovation has slowed down over the last couple of years due to the pandemic, but I'm looking forward to seeing.
When we come back, let's talk about some contracts. This CABVI has contracts, a lot of contracts, or used to anyway, with the government. Ed Welch, I remember telling me about some of the contracts down here he was proud of. When we come back, we'll talk about that. Dan Phillips, our guest. We're at CABVI. We'll be right back. Short break. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Dan Phillips is our guest. Dan is one of the employees down here at CABVI. We're talking about CABVI because this is, well, not just because it's National Disability Employment Awareness Month, I got that out, but because the services that are performed down here are so important to our area. What area do you cover geographic? What areas does CABVI cover, Dan?
Well, our home office is right here in central New York in Utica. We have an operation in Syracuse, and we're in, I believe it's 6 states with our base supply centers. Mm-hmm. So we're pretty spread out. We've got about 270 employees, nearly half of whom are blind or visually impaired.
The contracts that I mentioned before the break, I know you do a lot of government contracts here, yes?
We do. We provide a lot of products and services to both state and federal government. Mm-hmm.
What kind of contracts? I mean, I was trying to remember last time I had Ed Welch on my show.
Yeah.
He talked about some of those contracts. I can't remember what they were now, but first aid kits or?
Sure. The big contract that we hold is with the TSA, with our exam gloves that are manufactured and packaged right here in central New York, as well as in Syracuse. So any airport in the United States where you're going through the safety check with the TSA staff, they're wearing gloves that have been manufactured and packaged right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right here.
Are you looking to hire people here?
We are. We're looking to hire. We're always hiring. We're always growing. And the nice thing is that we've had tremendous growth. And when CABVI is able to grow, we can provide more job opportunities to people with vision loss, as well as with those with sight and other disabilities.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that there are some people, Dan, that could avail themselves of services here that don't avail themselves from services?
I'm sure there are those people, and I encourage them to just reach out to us. We will help them every step of the way. But they have to be ready. They have to be ready, but we're here to help them. Mm-hmm.
I was reading through some literature the other day, and I came across this word, quest. Do you know what that is?
Sure. Within CABVI, we are committed to allowing our employees to grow and develop professionally. Quest is our internal professional development program. It aims to enhance the skills of our employees and in many cases leads to upward mobility.
Mm. Are there people here, either as workers or as clients, that have another disability besides a visual disability?
Definitely. We have a very diverse workforce here.
Mm-hmm. The pay, is it a competitive pay here?
We have competitive pay here at CABVI, competitive benefits. We also have a very competitive integrated environment where we have people with vision loss as well as other disabilities working alongside people with their sight intact or without disabilities, which really results in a very positive, productive atmosphere and in turn results in greater productivity for CABVI.
I'm looking at your white cane in your briefcase. I've always wondered about this. How long does it take somebody to be able to walk up Genesee Street, to be able to negotiate by themselves? It seems to me one of the scariest things in the world to cross a street by yourself.
It can be, and everybody's training can take a different length of time, but really it's about how much you put into it, how much you practice the use of the cane. It's embracing it as a tool for independence.
If there was something that a message you would like to get across to somebody who has never experienced a visual problem, full-sighted, can't imagine being in your shoes, if there was a message to get across to people, what would it be?
Would have to say that people who are blind and visually impaired are really like the rest of the world. We just see it differently.
Mm. And is patience required with somebody, for a full-sighted person who's working alongside a visually impaired or blind person? Is patience required?
I guess you could use the word patience, or maybe some understanding, some compassion, a little bit of empathy.
Mm-hmm. I guess the thing that I'd always worry about is I don't want to be pandering. I don't want to be,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to get at?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't.
I guess there's a fine line there. Isn't
There is, and there's you don't need to overdo it. We're just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be treated like everybody else. Yes, I'm blind, but many other things about me actually I think are more important than my blindness.
And you were telling me, I'm going to ask you what those things are, but you were telling me that you're married, have a family?
Married, I have 2 children. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy activities just like everybody else. I like sports. I play them however I can. I like golf, cycling, fitness.
Hey, you know what, Dan? I was seeing as I approached, we're down on Elizabeth Street, right at the head of Kent Street. Stop signs here. There's 2 stop signs on Elizabeth Street. They're different than other stop signs in the city, aren't they?
Sure, we've got the flashing stop signs right out in front of our Vision Health and Wellness Center here, and that is to alert travelers that to slow down and stop, because we have a crosswalk between our two buildings here.
Boy, they work. I mean, sometimes, you know, we're so used to seeing stop signs that maybe we're not as conscious of them as we should be, but those draw your attention.
They do. I think that the community is getting better at stopping here, but initially, I think when they were first installed, I think it was something that drivers weren't used to. They weren't, you know, it's been years and years that there weren't stop signs there, but.
Yeah, their website down here, Dan, for people to look at?
CABVI.com.
Okay.
CABVI.org.
Okay, good. Well, continued success to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for coming in with us today. That's going to do it for us this week, but we'll be back next week. We'll do it all again. Don't forget, speaking of websites, cnyhomepage.com. We'll see you next time, everybody.